Well, hello, readers. It's Charissa, and I'm here with Charm City Readers. And I'm here with Jean Burgess tonight. Hi, Jean.
Hi.
And we are here tonight to talk about Jean's new book, Spring. When did it launch?
In spring, last
Spring.
spring.
Yeah, so spring. And I have to apologize because on LinkedIn it says and it's that. That summer she found her voice. So I apologize to you. I fixed it as many places as I could.
But
So
it is that summer.
It is that summer, yes. So thank you for joining me. I recently read Jean's book, and for those of you out there who are a part of Charm City Readers or just catching it, Jean is a Maryland author, which is super duper exciting, and we love to highlight Maryland authors in our group. So I just saw Jean for the first time last Saturday at the most lovely little store, Simply Made Here. That's the name, right? Did I get it right?
That's correct. Yeah.
And our friend N.K. Tillman, she is also an author. She organized this event with a whole bunch of Maryland authors. I think there was one author from Virginia.
Well, we still liked her.
We did. She was totally acceptable and welcomed. But it was this great meet and greet. And so I got to meet Jean in person before we met tonight to talk about her book.
Yes. Fabulous.
Yeah. It was fabulous. And there's another one. So if you are local, it's in Catonsville, Maryland, if you're around. I think MK is doing another one in November.
I believe that's right.
Yeah. Are you going to that one?
I am not, because I have another event, so I can't do it.
You are in demand and you are busy.
Well, that's the ramp up for the holidays. So.
It is. You're right. Yeah. So I don't think I've looked at the date, so I'll have to figure out if I'm going or not. But anyway, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So before we start talking about the book, I like to do a little meet and greet lightning round just to get us all warmed up. Not that we're not friendly already, but just for fun.
All right.
Are you up for it?
I am.
Okay. It's not hard. I don't ask any deep questions like purpose of life, nothing like that.
Okay.
Your book takes place often in Maryland. So where in Maryland were you born?
I was not born in Maryland, but I've lived here for over 30 years. I'm actually from the Midwest, from
Wait
Ohio.
a minute. Didn't you give me crud on Saturday for not being a true Marylander?
No, that wasn't me. I
That
wouldn't
was
do
Mary.
that. I wouldn't do that. No, but I've lived here for over 30 years. So I'm a, whatever you call that, a transplant.
Transplant, yeah. I'm 23 years, I think, in Maryland.
Okay, I'm from the early 90s. From 1990, I lived here.
And where are you from? Like what state? You don't tell me exactly.
Ohio, in the Cleveland area. No, we actually talked about this.
Did we have this conversation?
Well, through email, but because I have theater roots. And
so
your sister has
I was born in Akron.
Akron and Cleveland, yeah.
Cleveland, and I went to Kent State. And my sister majored in theater at Kent State.
Yes, and we were talking about that.
Have you heard of Weather Vane Playhouse?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, because it's a fairly big theater. She is the artistic director.
So. Yeah, I mean, this is very cool. So we had that connection.
I know, Smaltmore. So where do you live now in Maryland? Again, not your address.
I live in Westminster. Which is, I
was just talking to a friend in that area.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you never lived on the Eastern Shore. That's really
No, but so my attraction to the Eastern Shore and one of the settings of my book is because I'm a birder. My husband and I love birding. We go to the Eastern Shore all the time because we're crazy for birds, and there's so many great birding sites there. So when I thought of, what's a location for my book, I write about places I love. And so that is one of the settings for this book.
I love it. Okay. You like music and theater. So what's your favorite music genre?
Music genre? Oh, I would have to say jazz.
Really? Okay. Jazz makes an appearance in the book.
Yes, it does. As well as many other genres, but yes, jazz is in there, definitely.
Do you sing or play an instrument at all?
Well, I have a musical theater background, so I am trained in vocal music as well as dance and everything you need for for theater, but I kind of put that away. I'm getting older, so
It
I don't do
happens.
much theater anymore. But yeah.
You have a favorite stage show?
Oh, oh.
I know. How
I
do you?
would have to say, let me put it this way. The ones that I have performed in, and I've
Yeah, which of
performed
those?
in many, but I would have to say my favorite musical that I performed in was Fiddler on the Roof,
Oh,
and I played Golda, um, because I love historical fiction to read,
mhm.
and performing in that and transporting me to Russia and that
Yeah.
era and doing all the research as an actor. I just loved that. So
I was never in that one. I was like an Oliver.
I was in Oliver.
Yeah, like Annie, Sound of Music. I played lots of children because I'm like, short.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
yes, you
Ne-
are.
Never the ingenue. Never the ingenue.
Okay.
Okay, so I was gonna say favorite Broadway show, but do you have a
Oh,
favorite?
that I went to see.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been to many. Oh gosh, so many. Oh, well, I loved Wicked. Wicked was
So good.
wonderful on Broadway. Just wow, transforming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. I'm still sort of like a 90s Broadway girl, like Miss Saigon.
Oh, I love that
I
too.
know, right? Miss Saigon's so good. Okay, sorry.
Oh yeah, and I still cry whenever I listen to the music. I
Yeah,
mean,
like you
tears
are
of joy.
sunlight. I know. Okay. We're definitely hanging out and crying to musicals after this. What's your favorite book format? Paper books or Kindle?
Paper.
Ah, I have never gotten a Kindle favorite. Never. Do you listen to audiobooks?
No,
Really? See,
no.
I am just finding, the statistics I'm not keeping are that authors never choose Kindle books and rarely listen to audiobooks. So interesting.
That is
I
interesting.
know. Out of my, tons of data that I have. Okay, so let's dive in.
Okay.
Give us a summary of this book.
All right. Well, I call it a retro fiction, um, because it takes place in 1978. So it's not exactly historical fiction,
Yeah.
because there's
Nice. Yeah.
rules about historical fiction. It has to be 50 years old. It has to revolve around a historical event. And this book doesn't do that, but takes place in 1978. And it's about a young girl, 23 years old, who grows up in a small town on Maryland's Eastern Shore, um, kind of sheltered, kind of naive. She's heartbroken. Her boyfriend cheated on her, so her world is falling apart. So, what does she do? What anyone would do, she joins a swing band of all things as a singer. The swing band is headquartered in Baltimore's Little Italy, and she tours the country, and her eyes are opened to the whole world, to the
Yeah.
big picture, but a la 1970s. Okay, so what was
Mhm.
happening in the 70s? Uh, Emerging feminism, racial injustice, spiritual questions that she doesn't know how to articulate, uh, how she feels about these things, because
Yeah.
in the 70s, pretty much women were told to be quiet, sit down, don't rock the boat.
Mhm.
And she's struggling with this. So the book is that summer she found her voice, a little double entendre there, her singing voice, but also her authentic voice as a woman. So it's a
Yeah.
coming of age, it's a woman's story. Um, but these themes are relevant also today, not just
Mhm.
retro themes, they're also relevant today.
Well, I mentioned, so I obviously am from Ohio and I moved here 23 years ago. So I think I wrote down 26 when I came here. And I found like reliving her experience. Now, granted, she went from like Cambridge to Baltimore, which is not far, but seemed really far for her.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of was reliving my relocation.
Hmm.
So I think when I moved to Baltimore, I lived downtown. I lived in Mount Vernon. I lived in Upper Fells, Canton. And so like as she's noticing things in the city and she's going to Vaqueros, right? And I was like, oh, right. Like it felt really familiar to me. So I don't know if everyone will get that, but if you walk around Baltimore, love Baltimore, especially eclectic Baltimore, there's something very personal about her experience. Like if you love Baltimore like I do. I mean, our group is called Charm City Readers, right? So we like Baltimore, but I just found it really, really personal and lovely. And you have a lot of landmarks, right? So the book takes place primarily in Little Italy, I guess, as a base. You have Vaqueros, which is still around.
Yes.
Bertha's Mussels, which you and I discussed, is no longer around.
No, I know.
Which is shocking, right? Like eat Bertha's Mussels, like all those bumper stickers just gone.
Yeah, right.
The one I found fascinating that we talked about on Saturday was Painter's Mill Music Fair.
Yes.
Wow.
That's not right in Baltimore, it's Baltimore County, but still it's a big landmark. It is a big landmark of a music scene. Yeah.
I want like anyone who's like from Baltimore originally, because my husband, God bless him, had no idea what I was talking about, to say like, oh, I remember Painter's Mill, because it was like, I just started reading articles about it and about the fire and it burning down. And for anyone, it was like a music venue in Owings Mills. And
huge.
I work for a restaurant that's on the south side of 795. And if you like stood on the roof, you'd be able to see like where this music venue was.
Right. There's a BJ's there now too. Owings Mills.
Oh, commercialism.
But huge bands there. Elton John, before one of his very first American concerts was there. When he was nobody. He was nobody.
Well, it's funny because I Googled it before I knew it wasn't around, or, I assumed it wasn't around. And the street is called like Music Fair Road or something like that.
Yeah.
And it just felt so sad to have like a couple car dealerships on it now.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. A shame.
But that's the thing about this genre that I've made up, retro fiction, that you get to like dig up this nostalgia. I love it. And I think I'm not the only one who writes in the 70s and 80s, but it's fun. You get to see these, like you're saying, these are sentimental landmarks, and cities that you love, certainly Baltimore. And the sequel, which is coming out next spring, it takes place in New York City. And people love New York City. And we're going to talk about Margie's continued career journey in New York City. And
let's not go there yet. We got to deal with Margie
finding it. But I think people love the cities. They love the cities.
For me, though, it was very special because I was looking something up every other page. So like you mentioned Towson University. So clearly it was there. It's been around for a long time. You mentioned Catonsville Community College. And I was like, what? And then it's now CCBC.
Yes.
So I learned that. I mean, I know it's in Catonsville, but like I didn't know it was called Catonsville Community College.
Yes, it was. Yes.
And then you talk about the famous ballroom, which was home to the Left Bank Jazz Society, which is now the Charles Theater.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So and if I can just those sites, those jazz joints, and why I mention that, just for people who may be listening, is there's a little sub story here where Margie, the main character, she wants to learn more. She was classically trained in voice when she went to college, and she wants to learn about these other genres. So they're touring around in a swing band,
in a moving van. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Their mode of transportation is a whole nother conversation, but and so when they're back at the headquarters and they have a few days off, two of the band members take her under their wing, and she asks them to tell me, I want to learn about jazz. I want to learn about funk. I want to learn about R&B. And they take her to a couple of Baltimore's venues, jazz joints, and these smaller places, and they're all authentic. So I actually researched real places in the Baltimore music scene in the 70s.
What's
And I
his
had
name now? The guy that she met that told her about the origin of R&B and funk. Is that
yeah,
a real person?
okay, so
Giles?
I
Something
made him
Giles?
up. I
Oh,
made
come
him,
on, Jean.
but how did I base him? So my husband is a musician. He's a
Okay.
classic rock musician. He grew up outside of Baltimore in one of the suburbs, I think Lithicum. Um,
Okay.
but has played in rock bands since he was 14 years old, and his mom used to have to drive him to gigs at like school dances at other schools and stuff.
Better mom than I am, I feel.
But he knew some real musicians who used to play in Baltimore in the 70s. And so I interviewed them, both Black musicians and white musicians, because I wanted to get the true
Yeah.
story of, how it did Baltimore really embrace segregation or desegregation in terms of the musician world in the 70s? And yes, they did. I mean, there was no division, black and white, except
King.
in the swing bands.
I read that chapter, folks. Readers are gonna have to read the book.
and and the reason was because the band leaders sometimes couldn't get into the higher end country club gigs if they had Black musicians.
Which was that whole scene in the beginning at Roland Park,
Even
right?
even as late as the late 70s, it was still happening where they wouldn't allow an integrated band. And so when I learned that from the Black musicians that I met or interviewed, it was appalling to me that was happening even in 1978. But at least I was getting the true story from real musicians. So going back to the guy that they met, that this is what you're referencing, where Margie
Was
was
his name
getting
Giles? Am I making that up? Giles?
it was Giles, yes.
All right.
Giles.
2 points.
Yeah. I actually kind of morphed one of my interviews with a Black musician, and he was kind of giving me the history of all of the roots of R&B, and funk and all that. He was kind of giving me this brief history, and I was like, oh, I got to put that in the book. So I created a character so that Margie could learn the roots of so much of our own, of rock and funk and all that, and what we owe to the African tradition.
Almost everything.
Almost everything. Pretty much.
Everything.
So I made Giles up, but yeah.
Well, let's stick with race and discrimination just for a minute, because it was its own character, right? Like, I mean, it was what I loved was that it wasn't just about you kind of putting it out there that it was an issue or that it was an unresolved issue. It was very personal to Margie. She was sort of getting it from two fronts. She was getting it from her dad, who was kind of living in a contradictory way. He would be happy to serve people of color, but didn't want anyone living across the street from him. And that bothered her, and she had a hard time coping with it. Then she leaves, and she's getting similar feelings from King, the leader of this band. And they feel or at least he does. I don't know if his family does. I don't know if that's clear, but he feels very strongly they support him. And it's really about like her discomfort in all those moments and her kind of like figuring out where she's going to land, right? Because the world had decided that everybody was equal, but it took a long time. I mean, we're still there. It's taking,
as I said, not just retro issues. There's still issues today.
It's taking a long time. But what I loved about it was you didn't just make these statements. It was about her really grappling with who she is, what she's been taught, who she wants to be, who she wants to believe, how she wants to treat people, right? And it wasn't the whole book, but you had a lot of scenes where we got to feel that with her. I mean, I just really appreciated that. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, well, that's what I was hoping, because I don't think any of us, when we're 23, as she is in that year,
Yeah.
you know, we're not we're not whole yet or ever. I'm still working on
We all are.
finding my own voice in every single situation in my life.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, a lot of me is in Margie. Um, you know, because this is loosely based, and we probably should tell the listeners, is loosely based on my own. I was a singer in a swing band in the late 70s and did tour with a band.
Well, that was one of my questions. How much of this is true?
Well, that one aspect. The rest of it, well, and I did weave in things from my own life. So there is a lot. It's not a memoir. It's not
Right.
100% autobiographical. I will tell you, the first draft, I read it and I was horrified. I was like, oh my God, there's too much of me in this. I've got to, and she's so perfect.
Julie, I don't know if you know Julie from the book, as you said this earlier, but the title's a double entendre, right? Because it's about
Yes.
finding a voice, a vocal voice, and then
Yes.
finding a voice, which is who she is, what she wants.
Her authentic voice as a
Her
woman.
authentic voice. Yeah. Well
Yeah.
done, Julie. A+. Because I'm like a teacher giving out grades. I gave myself 2 points. You get an A. No, because that's what I wondered. Because I think you'd mentioned that in one of our early conversations about it was like, I don't want to say loosely based on you, but like a lot of your own youth was kind of woven into the book. So I was wondering how much is true and how much is not true.
Yeah. So, well, certainly the actual life on the road aspects, touring, some of the gigs were actual gigs. Some of those gigs.
I have cards. Oh, I have so many questions. Did you meet Waylon Jennings?
I did. Yes, I got a signed photograph. Yes, I was in his. There was a scene there. We were invited into his. Just a small group of us were invited into his luxurious. What do you call those trailer buses?
Like an RV. Yeah.
Yeah, that RV buses. Thank you. Yes, and he was so generous and lovely, and gave us signed autograph pictures of him,
So
and then
jelly.
sent us on our way. Yes, that actually happened. So I wrote it. I thought, well, that would be a cool thing for her.
Fun tip: my son was almost, not really, but almost named Waylon. So my husband wanted to name him Waylon, and I was like, no.
I love it. We never performed at Painter's Mill, so that was all just researched and made up.
But all the state fairs, Canada.
But a lot, Canada actually happened. A lot of the state fairs happened. I didn't remember, I was losing memories of some of the sort of like the rodeo days and things, but they were all sort of the same. So I just made I looked at I just got a big map and I said, I wonder if there's like a rodeo days in this
Iowa.
State. And then I would, I'd Google it and I'd say, oh, they do have one. Oh, not there, but here. And so I just
moved it.
I created a big itinerary, and then I just kind of made it work. And I go, okay, they'd be on the road for like a week. Maybe they'd go here and here and here. Like I made a big, Sacramento in California.
Yeah. Okay.
I never got to California. I know the band did.
Yeah.
But it was before I was involved. So the band that I was in. So I just put that in and I just researched, well, what is it like? What kind of exhibits do they have? What kind of I needed them to go to
the whole St. Louis bit, right?
The St. Louis. I want to make a statement about St. Louis because of what it represented.
Yeah.
And there were some issues. There were some racial issues. There was some historical thing. That was a much longer thing, and it was really mundane, and I cut the heck out of that. I got like way too wordy and I got way into a rabbit hole there. So that was like pages, and it got cut down to 2 paragraphs. But that's what writers do sometimes.
That's what you do.
but I had to have a stop in St. Louis. So then I made it more interesting, about the band and the characters.
Right.
It just got completely rewritten, but sometimes that happens. But St. Louis, I never was there with the band. That in my experience, I was there another time,
So
so I
the
knew the city.
city, yeah. So the band in the book is called.
It's called King Vito's Swing Band.
And now I'm curious what the band you were in was called.
I kind of don't want to say because.
Dang it! Maybe you'll tell me after, just so I can know.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, buddy.
Because here's why, and I will tell you why. Because I've written a criminal intrigue.
Good point.
And I don't want anyone to think, and that was all made up. That's all fictionalized, and I don't want anyone to think that ever really happened with the real band that I was involved in.
Totally.
And also my lawyer suggests that I just don't ever.
Well, let's listen to your lawyer, because I'm in marketing and I'm not a lawyer. So don't listen to me, Jean. Don't listen to me. I know, I'm just super curious. Like as a reader, it's like you want, like I told you, I looked up Painter's Mill. I want to know all the details.
Yeah.
I love, now it makes even more sense that you are from Cleveland, because like you have Cleveland's Little Italy in there. And of course, I've been to Little Italy in Cleveland many times.
Love it.
My dad he grew up in Cleveland, and he lived in Little Italy for a while, being an Italian guy. Went to a Catholic school in Little Italy in Cleveland. So it was just sort of nice to see like that too, a little represented. Like
Yeah.
Well,
I had to, my home area.
Your home area. Do you still have family there?
I do.
Me too. I have family all.
And when I go and visit my sister there, we go to Little Italy.
So she's in Cleveland proper, or a suburb?
She is actually in University Heights.
Of course, I know where that is. I feel so knowledgeable right now. Like I have family like in Lakewood, Mentor. I
actually grew up in Willoughby.
Willoughby,
which is right next to. Yeah.
My cousins used to live in Willoughby when they were younger. Now they're all grown with children living everywhere. But like my cousins live there, and my parents still vacation. Get this. This should be in your next book. Oh no, it won't be New York, but Geneva on the Lake.
Oh my gosh, you know it. I know it.
My parents went on a date there in the 70s. So like they drove by like some building and they're like, that was a club. And we went in there with 2 cents and bought a pizza or whatever. Yeah, there's a whole story.
Oh my gosh.
Mom, if you're listening, I'm sorry. That was a really bad rendition of your story. But no, it's just fun. It's fun to see all those things. Okay, so back to the story. Margie.
Yes.
What I really loved about how you portrayed Margie was her inner voice.
Yes.
So readers, there's a story, and the whole story is from Margie's point of view. But when she has that like inner voice, or like that angel or devil on the shoulder, it's in italics. And so when you're reading it, you read it differently. Like, because it's like, oh yeah, so-and-so, that's fine. I can't believe she said that. Like it's all kind of like under, and it just gives you this like really beautiful like picture of who she is.
I hope so. That was what I was going for. I have gotten feedback that yes, it worked.
It did work. It did work.
I was like, I hope it works.
It did work. I had an example, like I'm going to do this when it's italics. So, This is really high tech right here. This is when, this is the Vicarios scene. We were greeted at the door by a very smug Connie. You're late. King wants to see you in his office. Man, I want to slap that self-righteous sneer right off her face. So the whole book's like that, right? And she's saying she doesn't say anything too horrible because she's a good girl, but like she is definitely there's lots of color there.
Yeah, she has her moments.
Now, is that you? Is that you? Did you think like that? Did you have that voice? Do you still have that voice? Are you thinking about me right now?
I love her. She's great.
I wish you'd stop asking so many questions.
I wanted the book to have some humor too. I mean, I'm dealing with some heavy issues, and this emerging feminism, racial intolerance, spiritual questioning. There's some heaviness there. And then this criminal intrigue thing that has a little bit of tension. And so when she does that, I mean, I don't know, it makes me laugh,
It made me laugh.
Yeah, I mean, you do want to see, and don't we all do that a little bit?
I want to like think a little more because I'm sure I have feelings. I wonder if there are words to them. I will let you know in the next 24 hours.
Well, I mean, how do you? But I mean, how do you? Especially when the book is written in first person, how do you? If it was a narrative, third person narrative, you could say, describe the feelings.
Right.
There's no tool for that, which I found in writing in first person. There's no tool for describing the feelings.
Yes. Well, and you can't even say, and then her face, took a weird look or blah, blah. Obviously I'm not a writer, but like you can't even describe her because it's her.
Yeah. So I found this little device.
Love it.
And I said, I'm going to go with this. I hope it works.
It did. It worked. What I also loved about her, and love hate, because again, I moved to Baltimore when I was 26. Like my whole family is in a different state. So there were similarities, right, with her, is that I too, and still do, hate confrontation. I'm better at it now because, I'm 48. So like I've earned some stripes, but like Stephanie, who's probably not watching, my college friend, she would literally like, sit me down to tell me something she thought I needed to adjust. And I would like argue and then stand up and walk away. And Margie has a lot of that. I keep saying Margie because there's a woman named Margie I used to work with. Margie has a lot of that, right? She doesn't have the capability of staying in that conflicting moment and seeing it through. And that's the whole voice and like saying her truth. So the whole book, she is faced with confrontation over and over, and it's escapism. She doesn't know what to do except remove herself. And, good or bad, I think I was a lot like that when I was younger. So it felt very familiar. And maybe you were like that too, which is why it was familiar to you.
Well, I'll tell you that, yes, I was. I still have to work on it in some situations. And if you were raised in the 70s, and I mentioned this earlier, I don't know if it was on air or prior, but women were pretty much told not to cause waves.
Right.
To make yourself small and quiet, keep quiet. I mean, this is what we were told. And the second wave of feminism, emerging feminism, was, okay, women had their rights, voting rights, yay. But the second wave was about equal pay, being in control of your body, and things like that we're working on in the late 70s through the 70s. And in Margie's case in the book, the guys get paid more in the band, and she discovers that. And she shrugs
it off at first though. Like, right. She's like, oh, well, there must be a good reason. And so she's not addressing it.
Right. Well, because that's the environment she was raised in. I mean, she has a father who really just wants her to come home, don't do this crazy band thing, come home, find somebody to marry and have
babies.
Kids.
Yeah.
That's message, and be quiet, get in the kitchen, barefoot in the kitchen.
Right. Yep.
And I was, my father let me go to college. He only wanted me to go to community college. He didn't want me to go away to college. I was fifth in my graduating class. And
you could have gone anywhere.
I could have pretty much gone anywhere. And he just wanted to keep me home. Yeah. And, it was really, I try not to be resentful about that, but, really, still have a little resentment about that. But
Yeah.
that was the environment really in the 70s. And I mean, it all turned out great. but I had to push.
Yeah.
I had to push. And when I do book clubs with this book, and it's women who are my age, in their 60s, they bring this up.
Yeah.
They feel that. So you're younger and you can identify with certain things. And you can say, well, she just walked away from confrontation. This character
Mhm.
walked away from confrontation. It took her through the whole book to finally
Yeah.
speak up about a couple of things, and some things she still wasn't, speaking to.
Well, and without being political, a lot of that stuff is still around. It's just hidden,
Absolutely. That's why I
right?
keep
You
saying
feel it.
these are not just
Sorry,
retro
man. We do
themes.
feel it. We feel it. We know when it happens, and we have to make calls on whether or not every day to say something or let it go because we're expected to let it
Exactly.
go.
You put that beautifully. I mean, you have to just kind of pick your fights and decide what is
Mhm.
worth the energy and the bandwidth. And I'm still working on it, but it took me a
Always.
long time and a little bit of therapy.
Or a lot. Gene, I was in therapy. I actually thank therapy and my therapist for she's not watching for me being able to get through. I finally felt like after I went through therapy, I knew who I was.
Yeah,
Like, and I think I did it younger than a lot of my friends. And I was like, oh my gosh, where have I been my whole life?
yeah,
Right, you know what I mean? It's so thrilling. So thrilling to really know
it
yourself.
is. So therapy helped me through a divorce, but I thought it was so great too because it was like, this is like graduate school for my psyche. I love this. This is great. It took
It
me a
was so
little
good. It was
while
so
to
good.
get through it, but it gave me a new foundation for
Yes.
myself.
Oh,
So
we're twinsies. We're twinsies. I know it. Um, okay, so let's talk a little bit about spirituality. So
yeah,
we talked. You were raised Catholic. I was not, but I had a Catholic background because my dad's Italian and they're Catholic. My mom was Lutheran. And she was raised with that. But when you start the book, she's also being, I don't want to use indoctrinated, exposed to lots of spiritual belief systems, leaders who had loud voices.
yeah,
I was young in the 70s. I was born in 77. So I knew some of these names, but I didn't know them maybe the way someone growing up and being, a teenager or a young adult would know them. So I guess my question to you was the spiritualism in the book a sign of the times? Like everyone was sort of grappling with those things?
yeah.
Was it geography? Was it something that you grappled with? How did that come into the book? How did that, because I mean, you could have had the book without it. So why was that spiritual, ribbon important?
Yeah, so 70s was a big uh that is a retro theme also.
Right.
Um the 70s was a time of uh
Free spirit. Yeah.
transcendental meditation, Eastern philosophies, the Hare Krishnas in the airport, a lot of Hinduism, Buddhism, people were exploring all of that, especially on the college campuses. That was, that age
Yeah.
range, 20s. So, and I was too. I mean, I was interested in just learning about Eastern philosophy, even though I went to a Catholic college and I was at the same time exploring.
Was it
Um,
St. Angela's? Because I looked it up, couldn't find it.
no, yes, okay. Let's circle back to that. So put a pin
Okay.
in that. Yeah. But you did do your homework.
I'm not lazy.
I love that. But the Eastern philosophies and that sort of thing. So if somebody was raised Catholic or in a Christian faith and wasn't getting the answers that they wanted from that. And that was my case. I was raised Catholic,
Yeah.
but I had a father who was an alcoholic, and I'm like, oh, he's like, oh, going to mass every single day, every day, and yet drinking.
And not living it. Yeah.
It was confusing me. And
Mhm.
so I took my personal experience and put it into Margie. I'm not the only one. You know, I
Oh,
talked to
sure.
other
Yeah.
people who are my same age who left the church because they were just confused. They weren't getting the answers that they needed at
Mhm.
that time of their personal growth. So what do? Look at other places to get those answers. In the 70s, there were all these other sort of choices, yoga, uh, like I said, TM. I mean, I remember going into the student lounge and people were meditating, doing TM, sitting in the student lounge.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting if Margie maybe started following the teachings of one of these sort of gurus, and maybe that was kind of part of the beginning of the story where she
Right.
talks about, but
Ram.
but what happens? Yeah, Ram Dass.
Ram. Sorry. Oof.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Ram
Ram.
Dass. That's all right. But what I had found is that sometimes you get in too deep, you that's not the answer either.
Right.
And so then I had her all through the book, then she started going just to philosophers that she
Mhm.
remembered. And so she kind of journals through the book.
I
And
have some of them written down. Yeah. I
she
think my
goes this
favorite.
way, she goes that way, she goes all over the place. She goes back to Catholicism. She's just
But
looking.
isn't that okay, Jean? I
I
mean,
think
who
it's
knows what the
great.
truth is anyway?
I think it's great too. She never really finds any definitive answers. And I think, there's another book coming out. She doesn't know.
But
She's still looking.
but
And
we don't know either. So this is
and
just hope.
frankly, I'm still looking. So
Right.
I said there's a lot of me in that girl. So that's kind of where the spiritual thing comes from. I mean, I think she doesn't completely dismiss Catholicism.
No. I
She
think she
talks about
respects
what she
it.
loves about it.
Yeah, she respects it. It's just it wasn't enough.
Right. Who
Not that
knows?
we
She
need.
might come back to it. I don't know. I mean, there's 3 books in this
I was
series.
gonna say, what do you mean you don't know? You wrote the second book
I don't
already.
know. The characters start to take on a life of their own, and
Book 3, she becomes a Buddhist. Spoiler. No, one of the quotes I loved was Carl Jung, your vision. This one touched me, so it maybe had nothing to do with our interview, except that now I want to read it because I liked it. Your vision will become clear only when you can look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside wakes. And I was
I
like,
love that.
isn't that just everything right there? Oh, it's
I
so
love
good.
it.
That's so good. Okay, so how are we doing on time? How are we at 43 minutes? How are we
I
there
don't
already?
know.
Okay, so
What did we want to come back to though? Because
St. Angela's.
oh yes, and this is important. I did mention this earlier before we were on air. A lot of times, I'm a stickler for research, all authentic places, landmarks, all of that. But St. Angela was completely fictionalized.
Okay.
So she goes to college. Margie references a Catholic college on the Eastern Shore in Chestertown,
Yep.
St. Angela's. There's a wonderful college there, Washington College, that's real. But I needed for the story to have a Catholic college that she could attend that wasn't too far away from her Church Creek town that she grows up in. And so I fictionalized a Catholic college, St. Angela College. So sometimes I will stray and I will fictionalize something, but it's always in the author's note that explains why I
So
do that.
you like puzzles. St. Angela is the saint of what? Did you name it St. Angela on purpose?
I The reason is because I went to a Catholic college and there was a Sister Angela, so that's
I'm
why
like,
I
is
picked
there a
that name.
Saint Angela? I don't even know. I only know the
No,
basic ones.
no, that's
No?
why I picked the name, because there
Oh,
was a
okay.
Sister Angela, and I just in my
Yeah,
past.
but
So
it should be. And hat tip to Sister Angela, wherever you are. Um, no, because I didn't dive down that hole quite as far as I dove down some of the other holes of looking, but I was like, not real.
yeah,
I've been to Cambridge. I've driven through Cambridge a lot.
yes,
Because you need to drive through it to get to the beach.
oh yeah, yes, yeah.
But my girlfriends and I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, we like got an Airbnb in Cambridge. And
Oh,
there's not a lot to do in Cambridge.
no, no,
There's like a restaurant or two or five. I don't know.
right, yes. Cambridge, not a lot, but actually, I did do a lot of research there about what was life like in the 70s, where was her high school. I mean, all of that is researched, and even the little diner that she works at part-time was real.
Okay.
And I actually found the building that it was and knocked
Oh,
on the door.
cool.
It's a bar now. And I knocked on the door. It was closed when I was there, but the owner was sitting at the bar doing his books, and he came and I said, I just want to confirm, is this the building where Doris May's diner was? And his face lit up. I said, I'm writing a book. And it was so great. He was so excited. And he explained, well, it was this half, not this half. We expanded it and blah. So it was so
Aw.
fun. It was so fun.
You should do a book club there.
Oh yeah, at the bar. We'll all just do shots.
Well, not shots, a glass of wine. Goodness, Jean. You
It
took us
was.
straight to
It
shots.
wasn't exactly a wine bar, but okay.
I know, but they'll serve even bad wine at a bar. I mean, you know. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about before we wrap up. And I know you can't, I told you I don't want to give any spoilers out, but maybe you can tell me if the characters were real, or based on anyone, or if I can find out about them in the second book. So
Okay.
I mentioned Amy.
Oh yes. So Amy was one of the singers in the band, not family member, because this band
Right.
is kind of a core, or is a family, an Italian family. But Amy was brought on, and she runs into some trouble, and she's kind of a beloved character.
She is. So she will
Kind
be
of,
in the second book?
and she will be in the second book.
Okay. So
But
I
we
can
learn
find
a
out
little
what
bit more
happened to
about
Amy.
her. Yeah.
All right.
We want
What
to
about
know.
Jimmy and Chaz?
And Jimmy and Chaz also make an appearance in the second book. They're the ones that kind of take. They're horn players in the band, and they kind of are Margie's best friends in the band as well.
Okay. Are any of those three based on real characters, real people?
Well,
You
yes. I mean, they were sort of in the band
Okay.
that I traveled with, but they're
Never mind.
sort of
Forget I asked.
they're really conglomerates of people that I've known,
Yeah.
either in the theater or in the original band. So
You keep in touch. Are you still in touch with people from that band? No. Okay.
mhm,
So it's
no.
not like, Susie will be like, I knew I was Amy. Like they wouldn't know. Okay. At least not.
They probably
not
wouldn't
today.
recognize themselves. I
Okay.
doubt it.
It's gross because I'm asking way too many questions. Ruby, was she real?
Completely made up
Come on,
character.
hon. With the beat.
Yeah, I just loved her though. I love her.
And she was a good character, right? Like when everything went down, she was surprised. She was like a good guy.
I think she was uncomfortable with what she was being asked to do. I think with the intrigue part. I won't
I'm
say too much
classifying
more.
her in victim
Okay.
for me. And you don't have
Okay.
to agree or disagree because I've already decided that she's a good
Well,
guy.
you believe what you want to believe.
Thank you. Thank you. See, readers, you can believe whatever you want to believe.
Yes, you can.
Is there a journal?
Oh, I should have had it.
Come on. You have a
Yes,
journal?
I kept a journal during that time. And that was one of the things when I wish I had it. Anyway, Yes, I'll just say yes. I kept a journal, and I put little memento, little
Just like she did
Yeah.
from the
So
city
when
she
I
was
saw
in.
it, I was like, oh, well, why couldn't she do something similar? And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
So I have, and you had those postcards at the event on Saturday. You had those postcards that kind of showcased little parts of Baltimore.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I think in your second edition, you should put some of those pictures in the back, or like the front and the
Mm,
back, like little bookends. So that way, because I liked standing at your booth and like looking at the
yeah.
cathedral and you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to see them because it was such a like bookmark in the story every time she like inserted something into her journal. I don't know. I just think you
Mm.
should. You don't have to listen to me. I'm very bossy.
Well, well, we could talk about it after. It's Here's a problem.
I know. It's always though, right?
It's rights and extra money. And also I have a publisher and they don't, want to foot the bill for things like that. But it's a
Come on,
lovely
publisher.
idea. It's a lovely idea.
Give me their phone number. I'll do nothing.
It's a great idea. And
They won't listen to me, but it really.
When I'm very famous, I can ask for anything I want.
Well, you know what? Say you should watch this video because Charissa makes really good points.
I will do that. I will do that. Absolutely.
I think we're nearing the end, but one of the things, and I got this early, Jean. I got this early in the book. I'm like, why is this not a play?
Oh, that's a really good idea.
It feels like a play.
So when I was sitting there going, I have this story, these experiences. What do I want to do with it? Do I want to write a memoir? Do I want to write a screenplay? Or do I want to write a fiction? And, I sat there, reflected, and I decided, no, I'm going to go with a fiction. And then I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that somebody's going to want to pick this up and write a wonderful screenplay and make it into a film, because I think it's very visual and I think it would be a great film. Do you know that Tom Hanks movie, that thing you did?
I love that movie. That thing
Yeah.
you do. Oh, do not
the
make
thing
me
you
sing all
do.
the songs. I could
Yeah.
break out in them right now.
But
yeah, like that. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
like that. I need to call Tom Hanks.
Let's call Tom Hanks.
Yeah, let's get him on the phone and say, hey, this would make a great, kind of similar, but a little different.
Oh my gosh, so cute. But who would play King? Ooh.
Oh, we could. Tom Hanks could play him, just he needs to get some weight.
Who would Tom Hanks play? No, I don't think it should be Tom Hanks because he's too unlikable. And you want to like Tom Hanks. You just do.
He's played unlikable characters before.
Like who? I'm sure you're right, but I can't think of any because
I can't think of the name.
Remember his good characters.
Okay, well, we could find somebody.
But that is one of my favorite. I don't know if it's an indie film because it's like not well known.
Yeah,
but that is one of my favorite. I'm going to call it indie-ish films of all time. It's just fantastic. That's great. And you're right. This would be exactly like that. But I also thought, and I wrote down like theater production or miniseries.
Well, theater production, it would be hard because of too many sets, too many. Yeah. So, I would say that would be difficult.
My dad is a set designer and I think he could figure it out.
Well, if we had Broadway doing it, because they could, all those wagons could come in.
But you can see the lights across the stage. They just dim them for the different like scenes, so when they're in Little Italy, they're bright, when they're on stage, they're a little dimmer. I don't know. I can see it.
Right.
Okay. I reviewed your book. You haven't read it yet. Do you want to read it here with me? I'll read it to you.
Sure.
So I'm going to put it on screen and then I'm going to read it to you. And then if you like it, then after this call, we're going to call. What am I at work? No, after this chat, I'll upload it everywhere you want me to upload it. So I'm going to add it here.
I love that. Thank you.
It's a lot of words, so it's a little small, but I didn't want to edit it because I felt passionate about it. Jean Burgess's debut novel is a beautiful tribute to both the challenges of growing up and the journey of self-discovery. Beginning on Maryland's eastern shore and spanning across North America in the summer of 1978, the story follows a young woman as she navigates the trials of youth, searching for direction, confronting difficult personalities and facing situations that test her strength and resolve. As an adult reader, it was sometimes difficult to watch her stumble. But as I read on, my perspective changed. The story invited me to reflect and remind women. I'm obviously losing eyesight. It invited me to reflect and reminded me of how far I've come in my own journey. The novel is worth reading for the come-of-age story alone, yet Burgess deepens it further with travel to iconic landmarks, cameos by well-known performers, Waylon Jennings, spiritual lessons and reflections, and oh, so much music. For me, what makes this novel especially powerful is the insightful and reflective way Burgess tells the story. The writing feels deeply personal, almost like reading a diary. Like Burgess is not only sharing her character's journey, but also her own, and perhaps even mine.
Oh, that's lovely.
So
That's lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll add that after this call to, I usually add it to Amazon, Goodreads. If you have any other preferences, you can tell me.
That's great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can text me. So tell us about the sequel, when we can expect it, and where people can find you.
Okay, well, wonderful. So the sequel continues Margie's story. She's 26 in the sequel, and it takes place in the early 80s, and she goes to New York to pursue a writing career. So
Wow.
she decides at the end of the first book that she likes writing music reviews, and she's thinking that's the direction she wants to go. She goes to New York, and it's called Navigating Her Next Chapter, a retro novel. And so it's, and again, loosely based on my own experience. I lived in New York in the 80s as a starving actress. So a lot of my own experience are kind of woven in there, but she goes this different direction and tries to do a writing career. But similarly, I weave in themes of the period. So I'm dealing with the cocaine crisis in New York. I'm dealing with that horrible, dreadful disease that did not have a name, but we all know it was AIDS. Mm-hmm. I'm dealing with another thing that Margie stumbles on, and that is getting involved with the anti-nuke protests that were starting to go all around the world. But in Central Park, there was a huge one. So, and that influences some of her writing, and then her career takes a pivot. So that's kind of interesting too for my readers.
So awesome. I'm so excited to read it. I obviously remember the 80s a little more than the 70s.
Yes.
But I think I remember it differently than New York in the 80s. I remember neon and parachute pants.
There's a lot of fashion, and there's a lot of music, because she's still writing music reviews. And so the music shifts, and she's writing reviews for punk music and new wave.
Have you gone to print yet on this book?
Oh, yes. Well, it's right now it's being formatted, and we're working on a cover, and it comes out in April.
Is there a soundtrack list?
I always do. I actually, for book clubs and stuff, I have all of the music. I do for this first book too. All of the music that's listed, and all of music. I'll have all these freebies for my book clubs and stuff.
I think we should create like a YouTube playlist.
So, folks do that. They do that.
I know. I have a YouTube channel, so like we can just do it.
Oh, that would be so fun.
Do you have a list for this book?
I have the list. It's just a written list, but
will you send it to me?
It's 30. There's 34 songs on it.
Well, I'm not going to get to it tomorrow, but like, what if when I post the review, and then there's like the accompanying soundtrack, and then when we talk next spring, which we will after your second book, the accompanying soundtrack.
Oh, that'd be great.
We should do that.
It'd
be fun. I'm gonna do that. With your permission, of course.
Yeah.
Because that's what I need, more projects in my free time. But I want to hear it, because a lot of these songs, especially from this book, were just a little before my time as far as paying attention. I grew up on 70s music, like Peter, Paul, and Mary, because my parents listened to it. But this was new to me. There were a lot of new sounds in this book, and I would love to hear them.
Yeah, like some of the Earth, Wind, and Fire and Tower Power, maybe.
I do know Earth, Wind, and Fire, so I'm not completely,
Oh, okay.
behind. But
Okay, but like the swing music, you maybe didn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want all of it. I want all of it. Okay, we're gonna make a playlist for each interview, right? So you heard it here, everyone, readers. Give me some time, and we'll have this interview and then the soundtrack to the book, so that way you can listen to it as you're reading the book.
Oh, fun.
Oh, so fun. Okay. Well, Jean, thank you for joining me. Thank you, everyone who watched. I will post your review. Jean, what's your website? Where can people find you and your book?
It's pretty easy. It's www.jeanburgessauthor.com website, and it's on Amazon. This book is on Amazon. It's on bookshop.org. I always encourage people to use that because you're supporting indie bookstores, and we love that. It's on Barnes and Noble. It's on Target.com. It's all out everywhere. So
Is it in the library yet? It's probably in your local library.
it's in my local library, and it's on I believe it's in Baltimore County Library.
I'm gonna check. Well. Yeah. If not, I'm on there and I'll submit it for you. Yeah.
Sure.
We'll get it there. We'll get it. We should get it in Eastern Shore too.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you, Jean.
Thank you.
Stay with me, but have a good night, everyone. And join us for future chats at Charm City Readers, either on YouTube or Facebook. And we'll see you soon. All right. Goodbye.